The story of two Suzukis. One is an adventure tourer. In fact, it's the newest adventure tourer in the market, the V-Strom 650 XT. And the other? Well, it's a performance naked, the GSX-S750. How does an adventurer tourer compare with a performance naked?
Now, if you're a guy who's looking to buy your first big bike, you have a budget of say just under 10 lakh rupees, the V-Strom 650 will do everything quite satisfactorily. You want a one-size-fits-all bike, you can commute on it, you can do your weekend rides on it, you can do your long rides, and you can even do the high Himalayas on it. Think of Ladakh and Spiti, the V-Strom will do it quite satisfactorily. The problem arises when you walk into the Suzuki showroom to book one. There, you'll be caught in a dilemma.
The V-Strom 650 XT has typical adventure bike design. Tall, imposing stance, the front peak, tall windshield and wire spoke wheels shod with tubeless tires. It's built well and the quality of plastic, the finish is top-notch. It feels like a bike which will last and ready to take to the long road on your two-wheeled adventure.
At almost the same price, you have this, the Suzuki GSX-S750. Well, it's a 750cc engine compared to a 650. It's an inline 4-cylinder engine. It's butter smooth, more powerful. But then, a street bike over an adventure tourer?
The GSX-S750 is nothing like the V-Strom 650. It has muscular naked looks with a fat fuel tank with sharp creases, fat upside-down front forks, complemented by wheels shod with fat rubber. And it looks coiled and ready to spring into action. At heart though, it's more of a street bike, focused on performance rather than on touring. And performance is where it scores big time. The inline 4-cylinder engine puts out over 112 bhp of power and 81 Nm of peak torque. And it's a free revving engine which will rev close to 11,000 rpm. The 4-cylinder 749cc engine is butter smooth. But it's not just about engine refinement, it's about how the GSX-S750 performs. The strong mid-range and the intake roar of the engine will have you grinning inside your helmet, and soon as you cross 7,000 revs, the world will be a blur. It's more than enough performance to entertain anybody, regardless of your experience or riding skills.
Now don't get me wrong here, I'm all for adventure bikes. They've got a comfortable riding position, you sit upright, you can go on a long ride and you can of course ride it in the city. But if you're into true blue off-road riding, that's where the V-Strom 650 lacks some serious kit. Now for most riders, this can easily go over rocky trails, a usual gravel road and the like. But the limited suspension travel and a limited ground clearance will rob you of some serious off-road riding.
You could argue both bikes are as different as chalk and cheese, and you're not mistaken. The V-Strom 650 XT is an adventurer tourer suited for the long hours in the saddle to cover long distances, and it absolutely excels in that. It's more of a tarmac-oriented touring machine than an out-and-out off-road bike, although it can take on the occasional rough road or traverse terrain where the road ends. It may not have the hardware or the performance to take on the GSX-S750, but everything the V-Strom 650 does, it does without a complaint. In comparison, the GSX-S750 is more a street-oriented bike, which you can take to the racetrack occasionally as well. Sure, you can go on long rides on it as well. The riding position isn't so committed to make you take frequent breaks. But the nature of the engine will have you exploring the 750's performance over and over again, and that could be slightly tiring over a day's ride. And the more you rev the engine, the thirstier the engine will be, limiting your range on a tank full of fuel.
The Suzuki GSX-S750 inline 4-cylinder engine, which is butter smooth, makes about 112 bhp of power, and that sound absolutely makes me go bonkers. Now, rationally speaking, the V-Strom 650 makes more sense, but every once in a while you have to follow your heart, and this one will put a smile on your face every time you take it out for a spin. And that's the reason I walk into a Suzuki showroom, I'll pick the GSX-S750.
At 7,46,000 rupees ex-showroom, the Suzuki GSX-S750 is fantastic value for money. A superb engine, fantastic road manners and a highly entertaining performance makes it worth every rupee you spend on it. And that's the reason it will be money worth spent if you decide to pick the GSX-S750.